Hello, Doc Sketchy here again with another amazing video. Today I'd like to show you my prototype of a new thing that I've developed. It's a new version of my analog shift register, or ASR. I'm calling it the ASR II. Really clever name, I know. This one's a little different from other ASRs in that it's got quite a few extra features. So let me show you what it looks like. Okay, so this is the module. As you can see, I've just got a PCB, an etched PCB as the panel. This obviously won't be the real panel if you buy when I start selling these, but it's the best I could do with my limited resources. Here's what it looks like in the back. This is the basic ASR circuit here, and there's some extra circuitry in the middle board here that I'll explain in a minute. Okay, so this ASR has the typical features that you'd find in an ASR. Has a voltage input, has an input attenuator, and it has 3 outputs for the 3 shifted channels, and then it has a clock input. Like all my other ASRs, this one has a load loop switch, and each output has a shift and bypass switch, so you can either set it on shift or if bypass sends the input straight to the output. Now this unit has some extra features. The biggest feature here is the freeze and trigger button. So what this does is this if you don't have anything plugged into the clock, you can manually clock it by toggling this switch. It's a momentary on switch. Or if you want to turn off the ASR so that it freezes at its current point, you just flip that switch up and it'll freeze at whatever point it's at. Okay. Now it also has these extra jacks here. These 4 So these 4 jacks are for putting these 4 switches under voltage control, and then this final jack is a gate output. So it combines both the clock and the freeze trigger switch. So if the clock is gating, or if you're triggering the switch, it'll send gates out here, and that's useful for gating other things downstream. Okay, so let me patch it up with a basic patch and start demonstrating it for you. Okay, so I've created a basic ASR patch here. You can see I'm not using any of the new jacks. So I've got a triangle LFO coming into the input. I've got the 3 outputs going to 1 volt per octave inputs of 3 different VCOs. And my quad function generator, the red channel, is driving the clock. Right now I've got it's not in self-oscillation mode, so it's not clocking. So here's what it sounds like when it's not clocking. And I'll turn the clock on. Turn it down a little bit. Okay. Now we can freeze it. We can loop it. Attenuate it. And I could bypass. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I've got the gate out. I'm going to plug this into the gate out, and this is connected to an envelope generator, which is controlling my filter, the cutoff of my filter. So here's what happens when I do that. I'm going to turn the frequency of the filter down. and then we'll see what happens when I use the gate out. Here we go. Get it plugged in. So now that clock is controlling, it's coming out here, and I can freeze it. Okay, now let's turn the clock off, and here's what the trigger sounds like without a clock. Okay. Next, I'm going to demonstrate the voltage controlled switches. Okay. Now this plug here is connected to the yellow channel of my quad function generator, and you can see that it's oscillating quite slowly and generating envelopes. Those are 8-volt envelopes, and so I'm going to plug this into the load loop controller, and you'll see what happens when we gate load loop. Put the camera on the, here we go. That's fairly annoying, but could be useful. Now I'm going to plug that same jack into one of the shift bypass inputs. Now I have another from the green channel. I have another jack, and I'm going to plug that into a second shift bypass input. And we'll see what that's on. Now here's something kind of cool that I discovered when I was setting up to make this video. If I turn the clock off and just gate the shift bypass inputs, then every time the shift bypass comes on, it'll follow the LFO, and every time the shift bypass goes to shift, it'll just get stuck at whatever voltage it's storing. So I'll show you that. It's kind of a cool effect. right, so that's the ASR. Just unplug all this crap so I can show you the panel one last time. There she is again. This is the most fully featured ASR you'll ever find. And yeah, these will soon be for sale from Sketchy Labs. Sketchy Labs. All right, we'll see you freaks on the upside.